So let's get right into it. The source material we're looking at today puts forward a prediction that is, frankly, world-shattering. It's the idea that the United States, the biggest superpower on the planet, is actually on a path to lose a war. And it all boils down to this one simple question. Is it possible that a drone, something that costs maybe $500, less than your phone, could actually defeat a military that's backed by trillions of dollars? This question, it's really the key to the entire theory we are about to unpack. Now, the person making this claim, a game theorist the source calls Professor Sane, frames this whole thing with an incredibly bold prediction. He's not just talking about another regional conflict. No, he's saying this is the war, the one that is going to fundamentally change the world as we know it. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the shocking prediction itself. Then we'll dive into what the source calls Iran's asymmetric master plan. After that, we'll trace the potential economic domino effect, take a look at America's supposedly outdated war machine, and finally, try to understand the alleged reasons for why this supposedly unwinnable war even started. All right, let's kick things off with our first section, the shocking prediction. This is really about the man at the center of this theory, and why the source argues that we should be listening to him. So how does the source build this guy's credibility? Well, it claims he's already 2 for 2 on his predictions. First, he supposedly called the outcome of a US presidential election. Second, he predicted a war between the US and Iran would follow. So with those 2 points supposedly in the win column, his third prediction, and this is the big one, is that the US will lose this war. And that's the part he says is happening right now. And that really brings us to the absolute heart of this whole thing. The central claim is just this. The United States, with the most powerful and expensive military in the history of the world, is on track to be defeated by Iran. I mean, it's a statement that sounds almost impossible, right? So let's see how the theory even tries to back it up. Now let's move on and see how the pieces start to fit together. This section is all about Iran's alleged strategy, what the source calls an asymmetric master plan. You know, it's the classic question, how do you take on a giant when you know you can't possibly win in a straight-up fair fight? And before we get any deeper, we've got to be clear on this term, asymmetric warfare. Think of it like this. It's what happens when a heavyweight and a featherweight get in the ring. The little guy knows he can't win by trading punches, so he doesn't play by the heavyweight's rules. He uses speed, surprise, and unconventional moves to exploit the giant's weaknesses. According to the source, this isn't a new idea for Iran. They've been planning this for 2 decades, and it's a 3-step play. Step 1, use proxies. Let groups like the Houthis or Hezbollah do the fighting for you. That way, your own forces stay safe. Step 2, don't just hit military targets. Go for the soft spots, the critical infrastructure like power grids and, importantly, water supplies. And step 3, squeeze their supply lines. Block up crucial shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz. And that leads us right into the economic side of things. Because this theory argues that Iran's real target was never the US military, it's the US economy. This is where the whole thing shifts from a battle of weapons to a battle of wallets. And the key to this whole economic attack is something called the petrodollar system. It's basically the deal where oil-producing countries agree to sell their oil only in US dollars. That means everyone in the world needs dollars, which keeps the US economy strong. The source claims this system is America's greatest strength, but it's also its biggest, most fatal weakness. And just look at how fragile some of America's key allies in the region allegedly are. The source points out that 60% of their drinking water comes from desalination plants, which are sitting ducks. And an absolutely staggering 90% of their food has to be imported through those exact sea lanes that are under threat. An attack here isn't an inconvenience, it's an existential threat. So here's the chain reaction, according to the theory. If those Gulf states can't sell their oil, they can't funnel those billions of dollars back into the US economy, especially into things like tech and AI, where they're huge investors. The theory says that this constant flow of oil money is the only thing keeping the whole system going. Without it, Professor Sane calls the US economy nothing more than a financial Ponzi scheme that's ready to collapse. Okay, so let's shift to the military side of this mismatch. We're looking at what the source calls America's outdated war machine. It's really a story of 21st century threats going up against 20th century defenses. And this chart says it all. You've got the US defense system, which is built on incredibly complex, unbelievably expensive technology designed to fight the Soviet Union back in the Cold War, and it's using that tech, these multi-million-dollar missiles, to shoot down cheap,
simple, low-flying drones. It's like using a sledgehammer to kill a fly. It's just the wrong tool for the job. I mean, just look at these numbers. It's insane. To stop one drone that costs about 20 grand, the US is firing an interceptor that costs around $2 million. You don't have to be a math genius to realize you cannot win that fight. You're losing money hand over fist. Every single time you defend yourself, it costs you 100 times more than it costs them to attack.
And the result of this, the source claims, is that the US is just burning through its most advanced missiles at a terrifying pace. It's even supposedly having to dip into the special reserves that were meant for a huge potential conflict with a country like China. The war of attrition here isn't being fought with soldiers on a battlefield, it's being fought with budgets on a spreadsheet.
So that brings us to the big question, right? This is our last section, the alleged reasons for war. If this whole conflict is so unwinnable, both militarily and economically, why on earth would the US get involved in the first place? Well, the source offers a few ideas. The first couple of reasons are pretty standard stuff. The source suggests that a previous successful military operation in Venezuela made the administration overconfident. And then there are the usual suspects, political and financial pressures, lobbying from allies, and the fact that historically a president's power can grow during wartime. But then the theory goes off the deep end. It takes a sharp turn into something much bigger, much more conspiratorial. It claims there might be a whole other reason for all of this, something it calls the secret script. And this right here is the wildest claim in the entire theory. It alleges that powerful secret groups like the Jesuits, the Freemasons, and another group the source calls the Subvasion Frankists are the ones actually pulling the strings. The theory goes that these groups believe in some kind of ancient prophecy about an end times war, and they're manipulating world leaders to make it happen, no matter the cost to the countries involved. So let's wrap this all up. The theory's conclusion is this: the United States is stuck in a trap of its own making. Even if America wins every single battle, the economic damage and the strategic cost will be so huge, so catastrophic, that it will be the end of its time as the world's undisputed superpower. A win on the battlefield would actually be a devastating loss on the world stage. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If there's any truth to this theory, and if a country's power is no longer about who has the most expensive toys, then what really makes a country a superpower in the strange new world of the 21st century?